This is not a push-up bar, and we would have put a little bit more effort into making it look good had we had the resources, but we didn't at the time, so we're poor missionaries. But, so this, if you can't really quite see the engraving here, is the iron rod. And this is an idea that a companion and I had when we were in an area. We were trying to get member missionary work, members more involved in the missionary effort. And so what we did is we were reading in 1 Nephi 8, Lehi's dream, and it talks about how after Lehi had partaken of the fruit, after holding on to the rod, then he wanted to, he turned and he shouted with a loud voice. He wanted to share what he had received, which we kind of felt like was an application of missionary work. Was as soon as you partake of the joy of the gospel in your life, then you just naturally want to share it with others. And so the way to get there is by holding to the iron rod. And so we built about 12 of these. Just got some black iron pipe, we sanded off the coating, I guess, and ingrained it, and then just bought some 2x4 and 2x1s and built about, I think it was about 12 of these. I think this is number 12. And we gave one of these to a few families, and then we just asked them to commit to read their scriptures every day as we read 1 Nephi 8 with them. And then telling them that story said that would naturally lead to wanting to share the gospel with more people, and that each of you would find your own way to do missionary work, to set your own goals, and to reach out and love those around you. And so, as you can see, you might not be able to see entirely, but there's a bunch of signatures on here. I've got Georgia Atlanta Mission right on the front, but it's just a bunch of people that I've met. Serves two purposes: helps people to read the scriptures every day, and then also helps me to remember people that I met. And just looking at it, I can see a name and just a flood of memories will come back about that person. Missionaries, members, non-members, investigators, bunch of different people that I all learned to love. And so that's what this thing is. It's the iron rod. Yeah, so this is Our Search for Happiness by M. Russell Ballard. I brought this because of a special experience that I had with it actually while I was in Buchanan. While I was in Buchanan, I was about 7.5 months out, and that's when I'd really branched out to the rest of the missionary library, this being one of them, this being one of the approved books that you can read. What I like most about it is that M. Russell Ballard, it was all about understanding, starting off his book was, my intent is not to convert you, although I would be very happy if this did. My intent is to help you to understand who we are and what we believe. And so this is a great book. I would definitely recommend it for mission preparation. While I was in Buchanan, about the second day there, we had a investigator family that we were teaching, Rose and Jason, and we actually taught them in a member's home to begin with. These members had invited them to the Halloween party a little while back, and a few other things, and so they were kind of getting involved and getting warmed up to the church, and so we were there to teach the lessons to them, and they were really fun. At first, of course, it was they felt like it was a little bit awkward. They're sitting down and being taught by a bunch of what looked like to them snot-nosed kids from California and from Provo, but ultimately, as they grew in the gospel, I found out that Rose was an avid reader. She loved to read, and so I gave her my copy of Our Search for Happiness to read on her own. So they actually have an amazing story. They got baptized, and then I got transferred, and I had totally forgotten about the book. I had totally forgotten that I had left it in Buchanan until I had unpacked, and I realized, it's like, wait a second, where's that book at? And I was like, oh, I guess I left it with Rose. And then I was in Atlanta, actually, after Buchanan, the very middle of Atlanta, and I remember getting a package one day. It was one of those padded envelopes, and I wasn't expecting a package. but I saw it was from Buchanan, Georgia, and I saw it was from the Edwards. I thought that was really sweet of them to send me something. And I remember opening up the package, and out fell this book. I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And as I opened up the front cover, I found something like a grocery list sticky note, kind of sticking out, and on it is this note, and I'll read it to you. It says, "Thank you for sharing your happiness with me. Love, Rose." And that was a tender mercy, to say the least. That was a moment where I just felt a little bit overwhelmed in just realizing the magnitude of our efforts and what that can do for people. And so that was a wonderful experience. Ultimately, you'll meet a lot of people on your mission, and not all of them. We'd pray that all of them would, but not all of them will accept your message. But it's important to recognize that every single one of them, at one point, will thank you for at least reaching out and sharing your message with them. Whether it's in this life or the next, they are going to be grateful that you are a minister willing to sacrifice 2 years to 18 months of your life to bring your happiness to them and at least give them a chance to accept it or not.